Hello, my friends. Have you ever been disappointed by what could have been? I find myself feeling this feeling because yesterday I finished watching Supergirl from 1984, and the movie is clearly in the Donnerverse of Superman films, which includes Superman 1, 2, 3, The Quest for Peace, and 4, and Supergirl. And the reason I say that, the reason that I wonder what could have been is the movie's actually pretty good. And when you watch it, you might be surprised at how good it is because nobody has seen this movie. Very few people have seen this movie, and that was the reason why the production company that had the rights to Superman got rid of it because this movie was a flop. And it wasn't a flop by itself. Superman 3 was a flop, and then this movie was a flop. And if you watch Superman 3, you will completely understand why Superman 3 was a flop. There's way too much Richard Pryor and not enough Superman and Lois Lane. Um, and in this movie, there's so many things that could have been, right? Christopher Reeve was asked to star in this movie alongside whoever they got to play Supergirl, and he declined. And Superman 3 was supposed to include Supergirl, and that was supposed to be the launch of the Supergirl character, and that would take her into her own solo film, but that didn't really end up happening. And the plot that was supposed to happen in Superman 3 seems really, really interesting. Superman was supposed to be captured, and Supergirl, who we find out is his cousin, was supposed to rescue him. But the movie that we get is okay, but it doesn't have Christopher Reeve in it. So I think a lot of people were like, oh, I'm not going to see that movie. It's not for me. And I think that's a shame, a shame, a shame. Because Helen Slater, I just want to make sure I get the actress's name right. Yeah, Helen Slater. She she is so good in this movie. She has charm and innocence, and she should have been a much bigger star than she was. This should have skyrocketed her to the fame that Christopher Reeve had, because she's just as good as Supergirl, as Kara, as Reeve is as Kal-El and Clark. They're just equally good performances. And the plot of the movie is wild. It kind of veers off into interesting directions, but it's no worse than Superman, the original one. And I mean, in terms of the plot. And if I was going to rank the Superman movies, and why not? I will do it now because it's my channel. I get to do that. The Donnerverse movies, I would say Superman 1 is the best because the highs are really, really high, and the lows are forgiven because of the really high highs. And then, yes, ladies and gentlemen, I would say Supergirl is number 2. Then you have Superman 2, then Superman 4, and then Superman 3. Why is 2 not above Supergirl? Because the whole problem of the Donnerverse is that they don't really understand Superman's character. You can check out my review of that, Superman 2, to find out why. But basically, Superman brainwashes Lois at the end so she'll forget that they were together. And then he beats up some rando at the end of the movie, which doesn't make any sense. There's no reason for Superman to do that. Yeah, but this movie is great for a lot of reasons. And maybe let's just talk about Helen Slater's performance as Supergirl for a moment. She has like this blonde, she's very, very beautiful. And it's not exactly clear how old she's supposed to be, but she does, um, for weird plot related reasons. Not there isn't even a plot related reason, but she starts to attend a school when she doesn't have to. But she's like, "Yeah, I'm going to attend a school. I'm going to be a student here." So the movie is suggesting that she's in her teens. And Helen Slater was actually 26, I guess, when she played this role, but she's playing much younger. And I think maybe that's what made people a little bit more uncomfortable. So if they had made Kara an adult and kind of skipped all the school stuff, it would have been better, and maybe you wouldn't have those questions because generally, I imagine that Christopher Reeve was a sex symbol as Superman, and I think that's what they were going with Helen Slater as well. And yeah, she's beautiful. She's gorgeous in this role. It really works. She has like charisma and stuff. So yeah, she should have had at least as many Supergirl movies as uh, Christopher Reeve did. And uh, I have to admit that I really like Supergirl as a character. I think Supergirl, I really love Superman too, but I think that Supergirl is a more interesting character because you can do so many things with it. And Superman has limits, right? Like he's not going to murder somebody unless there's some weird version of kryptonite that he's succumbed to. He's not going to do that. But Supergirl, you can tell a whole bunch of different stories with Supergirl, and they all make sense. Like in my adventures with Superman, I think that Kara, she gets duped and she destroys civilizations for this galactic warlord. And it kind of makes sense that she would do that. That character would do that. In Supergirl, the CW series, she's kind of like, you know, a female version of Superman from that universe. She has the exact same backstory, same life, etc. And it works. Like, Benoit, I think her name's Benoit, does a really great job, that actress, as Supergirl. And that, I mean, it's not great television, but the whole point of that Supergirl is that she's an immigrant. And so she treats people, but she doesn't look like an immigrant, right? So she's an alien, but people don't see that she's an alien. So she has a different perspective. And as an immigrant to a country where I've lived many, many years and I look like them, they sometimes, if they don't know that I understand the language or they don't know that I'm a foreigner, they'll say some things about immigrants and I'll be like, oh, okay, interesting. So that's an interesting perspective on that. And then the upcoming Supergirl movie that comes out in a few weeks. I'm so excited. That one is kind of Kara's trauma for having survived after the destruction of her planet. And this one is sort of like the naivete of a person who has been sort of sheltered, and it's not exactly clear when they go to, um, excuse me, what's the name of the cloud city? Do-do-do-do-do. Argo City. I think people would skewer me in the comments if I didn't know that. I love Superman, but it's not like I have an encyclopedic knowledge of everything. But yeah, so I'm not sure exactly when she went to Argo City. In this version, it's not exactly clear when she survived the destruction of Krypton. Maybe she didn't understand anything. But anyway, she's like really sort of naive and she doesn't have superpowers. So she goes to Earth through weird, weird reasons. Like there's this thing called the octahedron, which is powering um, the city. And I keep forgetting the name of the city, but it's powering that city. And this wizard named Zoltar. What's his name? Zaltar, played by Peter O'Toole, which is really, really good. So anyway, he created Argo City, and he kind of like powered it by this octahedron, but he was like playing with it, and he like put it in Kara's like robes or whatever, and then Kara moved, and then it flew into space, and everybody was doomed. And they're like, oh no, we have to go get it. And they're like, oh, we can't get it because another part of the movie that's really, really weird is that this whole city, Argo City, is in what is called inner space. And I'm not sure if that's from the comics or just this movie. It could be both. I don't know. Yeah, so it's in inner space, and they have to travel to outer space, which is where our universe is, to try and get this octahedron. And so, yeah, Peter O'Toole is like kind of ripping it up. A la Marlon Brando. A la Marlon Brando in the first one, although a lot better because not as pretentious. He's having a lot of fun with it. Yeah, he's as Zaltar, the wizard, the sorcerer. So basically, Kara, when they're discussing what to do, because Zaltar is like, I'll like rescue the thing and save us. Kara jumps in this like vehicle, and she goes, and she just does without thinking. She jumps into the danger, right? And she gets sent into Earth. But the octahedron, it goes before, right? And this Earth sorceress named Selena, I think Selena. Yeah, Selena. She, played by Faye Dunaway, she gets it, and before that, she's been this sort of like low-level crook and charlatan, and she's like supposed to be the sorceress, but she doesn't have a lot of power. But she finds this octahedron, and she has a lot of power now, so she goes a little bit power mad, and she is going to try and control the world. But on the way, she decides to brainwash this guy into falling in love with her through a love potion. But part of the love potion is that he's going to fall in love with the first person he sees after he gets the love potion. And he falls in love with Kara because Kara rescues him from some malfunctioning construction equipment. Yeah, so let's talk about Faye Dunaway for a while. Faye Dunaway plays the character of Selena, who I just mentioned, who is this evil witch. And, well, sorceress. I don't know if she would say witch. Witch makes it seem like she's ugly, but I'm just telling you the perspective of this movie from 1984, not my like modern perspective. But anyway, she's like a sorceress. And I don't like Faye Dunaway. I don't think that Faye Dunaway is a great actress. And I think that Faye Dunaway thought and thinks, I'm not sure if she's still alive, so I'm sorry if I'm speaking ill of the dead, but I think she thought she was a better actress than she was. And she played Joan Crawford in a movie called Mummy Dearest. And it's not really her fault the way that went, but I think that after that movie, she really kind of gave this impression that playing Joan Crawford was beneath her, whereas Joan Crawford is one of the iconic actresses of all time and in Hollywood. And I don't, despite her personal life problems, she was an iconic actress, right? So I think that other people have played Joan Crawford better. Yeah, so I don't like her acting, but I think in this movie, it really, really works because she inhabits the character of Selena. She is arrogant, she's ambitious, she's mean and snarky, and it works really, really well. It's kind of like she should be as iconic as Gene Hackman is as Lex Luthor, but she's not because nobody saw this movie, unfortunately. Yeah, so basically the plot, I've kind of mentioned the plot a little bit with the octahedron. So Kara enrolls in this school because she's trying to find the octahedron, and the octahedron is closed. And then she randomly stumbles upon this guy who's been brainwashed by Selena while he's like walking, sleepwalking, and Selena is trying to grab him magically with this piece of construction equipment. And Jimmy Olsen is in this movie from the rest of the Donnerverse, and he's dating a high school student, which is weird because Jimmy Olsen is young, but I don't think he's that young. So kind of weird that he's in the movie. But anyway, Jimmy Olsen and Kara, or Linda Lee as her alias is standing outside and with their friend who, oh yeah, that role, the friend, was gonna go to Demi Moore, but she had another movie to do. And Demi Moore was also up for the part of Supergirl, but and also Brooke Shields was up for the part of Supergirl, but they wanted to go with somebody who was an unknown. And I understand why they did that, because they wanted her. They signed her for they signed Helen Slater to a 3-film deal because they thought it would be really big. And I wish it had been, because I think, as I said, she deserves it. It's like a really great performance. But you wonder if they had cast Brooke Shields or they had cast Demi Moore as Supergirl. I think Demi Moore, I mean, she wasn't as famous as Brooke Shields at the time. She was like maybe an actress, like a C-tier actress or something. So she was much more famous later. But like if they had that star power, maybe people would have watched the movie. But on the other hand, maybe the movie wouldn't have been as good. I mean, I'm defending this movie, saying that it's really good, and then you're gonna go watch it, and you could be like, Adam, it's not that good. You have to think of these things in perspective and relative to other films. I'm not judging this film based on Citizen Kane or even Star Wars or some of like the great films of all time. I'm judging it in the context of Superman movies, of Kryptonian content, let's say. I'm judging it on that basis, and I think in the Donnerverse it's the second greatest film of those movies they made in the late 70s and 80s, throughout the 80s. So yeah. Yeah, the only maybe other thing to talk about is that there's like really lovely special effects. They spent a lot of money on the movie. There's this moment where Kara, because as I said, she doesn't have superpowers on Argo City, so she gets to Earth and she's surprised that she has superpowers, and she kind of like flies and she's having fun flying and she's going like woo woo woo, she flips and does some things, and you can see the joy of the character. Whereas Clark, he only flies because he's saving someone or he wants to impress Lois. There's never any sense of fun and joy in that portrayal of Superman. I mean, there is when he's like charming. That's like the fun and joy that he gets, but not other parts. And then there are like these really great moments where Supergirl will. There's one moment where she flies into a pipe, and then she transforms in the pipe, and you can hear her walking as she transforms into the Linda Lee character. And Linda Lee, also crazy that Superman just puts on the glasses and then he's Clark Kent and he changes his hair. But Linda Lee's hair changes color. She's not a blonde anymore. She's wearing glasses. And so I would say, yeah, I could understand that people wouldn't recognize you. Although there's another great scene where she sneaks back into her like dormitory wearing her Supergirl outfit, and the kind of teacher who's supervising is completely drunk, and she's like, what are you doing? Why are you wearing that thing? Get off, get back into your uniform, get back into your approved clothes. So she's drunk. She's so drunk that she actually recognizes that is Linda Lee. as well as being Kara, as well as being Supergirl. So that's another great moment. Um, there are some kind of power scaling issues because theoretically she's supposed to be as powerful as Superman because they're cousins, so they're the same family, they're the same species, they have like the same kind of things going on. And I I'm kind of like, so there is this scene where as I said, she's kind of like watching this construction equipment go after this guy, and she's waiting a while to do anything, which is also really weird, but she's not used to being a hero, so she has to be like kind of prompted to do something when no one is doing anything, or her friend like runs after the machine and she gets on it and she gets knocked out. So she's like, I gotta rescue my friend. So she's going and she's fighting this piece of construction equipment. And she doesn't lose, right? Because she's Supergirl. But it's not like she wins in an easy way, which you would if you were Superman. There might be two reasons that would work, actually, like reasons why uh, Kara is not as strong as Superman. One, because she's only had her powers for like a couple of days at this point, like maybe a week or two, so she doesn't really understand how powerful she is. That's one thing. And the second thing is that this is a story that's all about magic. So Selena has this like powerful magic which she uses against her, and Selena uses magic, as I just said. Magic is one of Superman's weaknesses. Why? Just because. So you could make the argument that Supergirl is not doing well against the magic because it's magic. Although she does really, really good, really, really well. Like she kind of like thinks of ways to solve the problems that she has. And I think that there's also this really great scene where Selena sends this shadow monster after her, and she doesn't back down. She goes outside and she's like, "What up? Come on. Come at me, bro. Come at me, bro. Come on. Come on." I mean, she's not like that, but like in a very Helen Slater refined way, like standing her ground and not being afraid of whatever's going to happen to her. And so she defeats that monster by electrifying a lamppost and shocking the monster with it. But, kind of goofy, but great. And then there's this scene which is so good. So I don't know how, but Selena, in the first big confrontation between Supergirl and Selena sends Supergirl to the Phantom Zone. And I don't know how Selena knows about the Phantom Zone because it's only referenced in uh like we know about the Phantom Zone because we watched Superman 1 and 2, but Selena did not watch Superman 1 and 2 because she was living her life being a sorceress or whatever. So how she knows about the Phantom Zone, not sure. But anyway, she sends Supergirl to the Phantom Zone where she meets Zlatar. I'm saying it wrong again, am I not? She meets Zaltar. Zaltar. Such an easy word to remember. She meets Zaltar, and Zaltar has been banished to the Phantom Zone. And it's weird because he says that he should be banished. I'm not sure that the residents of Argo City were actually going to banish him, but they're like, yeah, sure, we'll banish you. So he gets banished to the Phantom Zone. And the Phantom Zone is basically this prison that Clark's dad built, Jor-El built to kind of trap the worst Kryptonian criminals. So when she arrives, it's like this dark, depressing place. And the scene is so great because she tries to use her powers because she thinks she's still on Earth, but she's not on Earth, so she doesn't have any powers. And the swamp is just a swamp. right? But it feels a lot like the Swamp of Sadness in the Neverending Story. You know, if you don't know what I'm talking about, maybe I'm not going to make you depressed right now, but that is like the saddest film ever, that part of that film. And so she's just bogged down in this swamp and she's trying. She keeps trying because she is Supergirl. She keeps trying and trying and trying. And finally she gets tired and she like kind of collapses at the edge of the swamp, all muddy with this green goo and stuff. It's so good. So good. And then Zoltar finds her and they have this talk and she's like, we need to leave. And he's like, leave? Leave the Phantom Zone? There's no way we could possibly leave the Phantom Zone. And she's like, yeah, if we got in, we can get out. And he's like, oh, no, 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 no. So finally they find a way out. And this is what's great about the character is like she believes in herself, but she also kind of has moments of doubt, right? A little bit like Jesus. I know that's a weird comparison, but it feels a lot like that moment on the cross, right? Where he's like, take this burden from me, or whatever he says. Sorry for being sacrilegious, but it really reminded me of that because the Superman story is a lot, it does have parallels to the story of Christ. And so she is like coming out of hell, but she is like, oh, I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't do it. And then she's like, oh, Zoltar, come with me, come with me. And he's like, I'm coming, I'm holding on to you, I'm coming, I'm coming. And then she's almost at the end and he's like, go, you can do it, I believe in you. And he pushes her out and then he gets sucked into the void again. And then there's a moment where she's back on Earth and she's like despairing again. And then she hears the voice of Zoltar. And I think that it's like a spiritual kind of thing. She hears the voice, like, you can, I believe in you, you can do it. And she's like, yeah, yeah. So it's such a positive message. I can't say enough about the performance of Slater as Kara. Really, really good. Surprisingly, really refreshing. So, as I said though, if you go into the movie and you're gonna and you think you're gonna get a great movie because I've been pumping it up for you, you're gonna get a good Superman movie from that time. Okay? So maybe manage your expectations a bit. If you expect that kind of movie, you'll be pleasantly surprised. I think it's like a 7 or an 8 by that relatively, relative scale. Just an objective scale, I would say probably like a 4. But as a movie connected to the Superman mythos and Kara's mythos, it is good. All right. If you like what I do, please like and subscribe to the video. That really helps with engagement. Leave a comment. You can criticize my pronunciation. You can criticize my lack of knowledge of basic Superman facts and Supergirl facts in the comments as well. Yeah, I'm trying to get to 20 subscribers by the end of June, and I believe that we have 19 right now, so we're on the edge, baby, on the edge. All right, yeah, thanks. Bye-bye.